You're watching AMTV, Alternative Media Television. It is, of course, Monday, and I almost didn't comment on this because I wanted to see the story develop. But, of course, all of you are aware of a tragic shooting at a church out in Texas, out in San Antonio, of which left 26 people dead. The number might be going up as we speak. There's a 4-year-old, I believe, in surgery, and just a horrific act of violence. So what do we know about this killer, this shooter? Well, we know he was an atheist. We know he did not have a permit for a gun. Let me repeat that. He did not have a permit for a gun. We know that if it weren't for two law-abiding citizens, responsible gun owner that tracked and hunted this individual down, that instead of maybe 26 people dead and counting, 4% of the population in this small town, it might have been 50. Could have been the entire church. Could have been 100% of the town. Now, people ask me a lot. They want to know what my stance is on guns and gun control. I think it's important that we don't politicize it. My stance, honestly, is life. Life. And based on the evidence, just like based on the evidence of this specific case I'm reporting on, if it wasn't for the Second Amendment and responsible gun owners, a lot more people would be dead. A lot more people. It's appalling that comedians like Chelsea Handler, for example, and the left will politicize this event and say it's Republicans' fault. And then they'll also, for the shooting, they'll point the finger, and they'll also mock prayer as if, well, I guess your prayer isn't working. I've got a newsflash for you. That only tells me that people aren't praying enough. It only tells me that there's a moral rot at the core of our society. It only tells me that there's a moral rot at the very foundation of this country. And I agree with Donald Trump. It is not a gun problem. It is a mental health problem. This person that opened fire at a church was a psychopath. Plain and simple. Had nothing to do with guns. Now, the left wants to take the guns. The left promotes gun control. But again, just if you look at this case, just from at a very basic level, being completely objective, if it wasn't for law-abiding citizens with a gun, a lot more people would be dead, and the perpetrator would have still had a gun. He was dishonorably discharged from his post. I don't even think it was an allegation. He had beaten his wife and his child. He was mentally out of his mind. Now, that's the byproduct of something. I think that's what Trump is getting to. That's the byproduct of a very, very sick society. Okay, it has nothing to do with guns. I mean, we just had an attack in New York City, for example, where a truck was used to kill and mow down innocent civilians. You don't need a gun to kill people. Take a look at the Boston bombing, for example. It was just a couple Martha Stewart pressure cookers you could have bought at Home Depot that did all the maiming, murdering, killing, and bloodshed. So you don't need guns. I think that's pretty much all I have to say. It's quite obvious that if it weren't for guns, a lot more people would have died yesterday. There was a beautiful moment, and I'll just end it on this, on an up note, where I noticed an individual wearing a Police Lives Matter shirt with a cowboy member of the church were praying, and they had their hands up the wall, and they were just praying, and you could see the light. I tweeted this because it was pretty much the only comment I made. Let this man be judged. Let God's will be done. And I pray for the individuals, and also just want to say a big thanks to the heroes. If it wasn't for these two individuals, responsible gun owner, another cowboy that helped track this guy down at 95 miles per hour, it could have been a lot worse. So God bless everyone affected. I've got another video coming, a very big one, in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.